History was made 158 years ago when the H.L.Hunley became the first submarine to successfully attack a warship. Today, researchers are still learning more about the demise of the crew aboard that submersible, but also of the warship, the USS Housatonic, whose story remains buried at sea. Joining us with more, Michael Scafuri, an archaeologist at the Warren Lash Conservation Center at Clemson, and Jim Spyrek, state underwater archaeologist at the South Carolina Institute of Archeology and Anthropology at USC. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
This first question is for Michael. February 17th, it's a very significant date in national history and particularly here in Charleston. Can you explain what happened that day?
Yeah, February 17th, 1864, a handmade submarine left Breach Inlet, Sullivan's Island here in Charleston, and went 4 miles offshore and attacked one of the ships that was blockading Charleston Harbor. They attacked it with a torpedo, sank it, and became the first submarine in history to sink an enemy ship in combat.
And which war are we talking about here?
This would be the Civil War.
Of course, right? And so when you think about it, despite the fact that it was handmade, that was quite the technology back then, successful to the extent that it brought down the warship. But as far as what we understand, what happened to the submarine itself, what have we learned?
Yeah, so we've learned a lot about the construction of the submarine. It was sort of on the forefront of emerging technology, that technology being submarine development. It was a new concept and something that people were experimenting with, not just here in the United States, but also around the world. Mm-hmm. And so we've learned a lot about how the submarine operated. And what we're still trying to figure out is what happened. It did sink USS Housatonic, but then never returned to shore, and so entered the realm of mystery. And so we've been trying over these last years to figure out exactly what happened and tell the story of the Hunley and Housatonic.
Now, Jim, let's take this over to you because, of course, the warship, there really are no remains except for, I believe, the anchor.
Well, I guess, yeah, over the years, a number of people, I guess, have claimed that Housatonic anchor, I believe, was over on Isle of Palms somewhere in front of the resort or whatever. So that remains to be proven. But there were 3 anchors recovered back in the 1870s. And there are little relics here and there about the Housatonic. If you go to the State Museum, or excuse me, to the Confederate Relic Room, there's a little card that has a sliver of the stern post on there. And also, when we were working on the Housatonic and the Hunley back in the early late 1990s, some people would bring relics as well. A little piece of cube of the Housatonic wood that had been marked down. It's a sort of memorabilia from after the war that folks had collected and then still within possession. But you're right, unlike the Hunley, which is exposed and anyone can see it nowadays, the Housatonic still remains completely buried. So there's nothing above the surface of the sediment. So you could drive your boat over, and if you have a hummingbird or a side scan sonar, you would see nothing protruding above the sediments there.
As an underwater archaeologist, what is your job then to maybe one day unearth more evidence?
Well, we've taken 2 stabs at it back in 1999 before we recovered the Hunley there in 2000. And then again this past October, Mike and myself were part of a team to try and uncover a little bit more about what happened on that fateful night of February 17th. Could we find any more evidence about the blast damage to the Housatonic? How bad was it? We expected, could we find some fractured frames, some of the outer hull planking broken up, as well as machinery. So again, it's very difficult when you cannot see the wreck itself. So we use various remote sensing strategies, a magnetometer that can detect iron and metal, which pretty much just told us there's a lot of metal still down there. It's a steam-powered warship, so you have boiler, propeller, and this and that. But then also another device we used was a sub-bottom profiler, and that actually sends acoustic signals through the mud, and that was pretty useful to try and figure out exactly where the wreck was, so then we could plan our excavations, which, like I said, with 99 we did a little bit of work, and then this past October as well.
So fascinating. So Michael, what are you hoping that viewers who are hearing this and February 17th coming just around the corner. What are you hoping to impart to our viewers as to the importance of such an event?
Yeah, no, it's that we continually need to understand history, to study history. It's a lot of amazing things have happened in the past, and one of the reasons why I became an archaeologist is because I love a mystery, and this is a mystery, you know. And it happened here in Charleston. It was a unique event worldwide, and I think we need to know a lot more about it. And so that's why I do what I do.
That's wonderful. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you both so much for joining us and sharing with us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We're back after this.